let's be real for a minute. The Mass Effect franchise is dead. Andromeda completely killed it. BioWare is no longer. The last game that they made was Dragon Age the Veilguard, and those developers are now helping making Mass Effect 5. Mass Effect 5 is gonna be dog water at the best situation. And I know some of you are saying, but wait a minute, didn't the Mass Effect developers, who are a completely separate entity from the Dragon Age developers, come in and help make the ending of Dragon Age Veilguard, and that was actually good? No, that's just a lie. Well, they actually did do that, but the ending was not good. The ending was very, very bad. The ending was still absolute 100% slop. It was bad. Did you actually see it? Did you play it? No, of course you didn't. That's just what the Super BioWare Dragon Age fans want you to believe. I watched it, I saw what it is, and it was bad, trust me. And now we have, well, maybe a chance of somewhat a decent game in the form of Exodus. Now, granted, I'm not gonna lie, Exodus has potential, but at the same time, Exodus does have some severely giant red flags. One, it's made by the old developers in BioWare, the people who actually brought you the Mass Effect games that you liked, which is technically a good thing, but let's be real, it's the current here, and this is a male. Right there. That's a man. I'm sorry, but that has more feminine features than most AAA games have had feminine features on actual women in the past year. A giant red flag. Furthermore, more red flags is the fact that there are no white people in the future, and currently, as much as we know about Exodus, the main protagonists, the people with the most power and stature, are women and whatnot. So, that is kind of a very big red flag nowadays. But again, not everything looks about this bad, but all of these things are very, very typical precursors to things going extremely poorly in the future. So, have a little bit of hope, but not a lot of it, because I'm not gonna place a lot on this succeeding.
Hey guys, Dadix here. I'm so pumped for Exodus. Old BioWare devs working on a spiritual successor to Mass Effect? Sign me up. Well, as per Hasbro's earning call, it's suggested that
Also, I already talked about this, but I will mention again. The fact that one of the bosses that they show is a bear and you need to kill it. Listen, a normal animal in the wilderness in a game, you killing it is fine. But this is humans or whatever just decided to kind of be cruel towards the animal, and this is not something that I like. They actually manage to pretty much strike the only thing in gaming that I consider going too far.
Mass Effect? Sign me up. Well, as per Hasbro's earning call, it's suggested that Exodus will be at the Game Awards. I'm expecting a proper...
Oh, right, I almost forgot even to talk about this. And the biggest red flag is the fact that Hasbro stands behind this. Hasbro is arguably the worst company when it comes to gaming. They have ruined everything. Hasbro literally made Lord of the Rings black. It is a disgrace, a disaster. The last game Hasbro made was a Magic the Gathering top-down perspective game with skills, something like Lost Ark. They paid literally thousands of people to stream it, and even those people couldn't last a day playing it. Some people literally stopped their sponsorship because they just didn't want to play a game where auto-attacking feels bad. And Hasbro is taking over Baldur's Gate 3 because, well, Baldur's Gate 4 after the success of Baldur's Gate 3, and rumor still is, it's unconfirmed, but the person responsible for Dragon Age Veilguard could be responsible for that. Yes. Yes. Yes.
Gameplay overview. However, to tide us over until then, we recently had another Q&A video with Chad Robertson, the co-founder of Archetype Entertainment, alongside James Olin. Between them, they've worked on games such as Mass Effect and Dragon Age Origins. He's joined by Chris King, the game director. So in this video, we'll go through the interesting things they said about the game.
I'm Commander Shepard, and Dantix is my favorite channel on the Citadel. You don't get the discount. What?
For example, Chris wasn't hesitant to say
That was strange. Audio was only coming from one ear.
that one of his inspirations for Exodus was Mass Effect, as it's a mega space opera with choices that carry over from game to game. Maybe I'm reading too much into it, but does that mean they're planning for a possible sequel?
If you're telling me your inspiration for a space game is not The Expanse at this point, or, you know, Dune, you're already doing things wrong, in my honest opinion.
With your choices carrying over. I sure hope so, because that's what made Mass Effect great in the first place. The developers knowing its direction and knowing that it was going to be a trilogy from the start. What's interesting is that they've also drawn some inspirations from the Horizon games. An example is that you have to make some decisions based on the construction of things that you're fighting and be smart about the tools that you use against it. In Horizons, different elemental effects work better against different targets, so perhaps there's a bit of that in the combat of Exodus. Also, dangerous looking robot enemies that we're completely outclassed against is a definite crossover in terms of themes. Speaking of dangerous, the game has drawn some inspiration from the Metroid and Metroid Prime series. Hopefully that means sexy bounty hunters, but what they're referring to is needing particular tech to get past some obstacles, landing a spaceship in the middle of nowhere, and the feel of loneliness and...
And by the way, do you see it? Do you see what I mean? No white people? Yes, the future is... This is the literal meme of what... Remember what scientists thought the future 20 years ago, 20 years back looked like? And it was this, by the way. Yes. So you're telling me Africa has a space program, and above everything else, it actually worked? Wow. Did you watch those Zimbabwe army recruitment propaganda videos where people were walking around in giant mechs, and did you think that was real? How did this come to reality?
Some obstacles, landing a spaceship in the middle of nowhere, and the feel of loneliness and danger. I recently made a post on X describing how I felt Mass Effect 2 and 3 lost the darkness, the loneliness, and the grittiness from the first. From what I've seen of Exodus, it seems like they want to take us back to that feeling. Space is a dangerous place. Now, before I get slammed in the comments, yes, Mass Effect 2 and 3 had its moments.
Space is a dangerous place, unless you're a strong, independent woman.
Like the Project Overlord DLC, but I'm referring to the atmosphere rather than the themes. Now, I mentioned obstacles. I'm thinking Mass Effect Andromeda in ways where you're traveling through ancient, far more advanced tech and need a special MacGuffin to get through. In this case, the Traveler, your character, is unique in that they can interact with celestial tech. Put two and two together and we have a game where you gather tech and use it to open up traversal options. When it comes to tools and weapons, they wanted to approach it with the idea that you can only take a certain amount of things with you into space. They then asked, what is a Traveler's Swiss Army knife? How can you have that level of utility when traveling in the unknown? They hinted at a few cool ideas in that regard that manifest as we play.
I mean, this is the closest.
They then asked, what is a Traveler's Swiss Army knife? How can you have that level of utility when traveling in the unknown? They hinted at a...
That is the closest we are getting to white representing a character, and I mean we're just missing a nose ring. We're literally just missing a nose ring. Now again, there have been games with bad character design that have been good. Off the top of my head, I can't name a single one though, but I'm sure there have been. But, you know, this is typically a problem, okay? This is typically a problem.
A few cool ideas in that regard that manifest as we play the game. One of them is the Recycler, a gun that salvagers typically use. The idea is that with this thing, we don't need to carry ammo. It's like the flux capacitor from Back to the Future. You can grab any scrap metal, slap it in, and it'll make a bunch of resources. What's cool...
Okay, so... I appreciate detail. I love detail. You know how much I whine and moan about games not having detail and having giant lore pieces that you're just kind of supposed to accept and everything goes against it. How I hate that. This is a good attempt. But honestly, if I had to choose one thing that I don't care about in a game like this, it's why can I reload my weapon 500 million times in a row and I don't run out of ammo while my ammo is, a physical projectile? I don't care about those details. This is one of those rare few small details that I am okay that the developer completely doesn't address. It's fine. It's fine. Okay. Listen, pull 15. But do this and pull 15 different guns out of yourself. It's fine. I'm cool with that.
About yours though is that it transforms, so you can use it a variety of ways, like a set
also transforming. I think this is also a giant pitfall.
Transforms, so you can use it a variety.
You see, because it's gonna be nonsensical shapes for no fucking reason. That's gonna be like, this looks stupid. This looks awkward. This is what overthinking something that doesn't need to be overthought usually ends up like. So yeah, look at this guy.
Variety of ways.
It's like, what? Why is it just giant and clunky and stupid? This is like Fallout 4 level of gun design. Here's this, it's a cube, and you hold it like this, and then there's two things. Ugh.
It's like a set of different weapons. We've seen it in the assault rifle configuration. When fighting the awakened bear, we see it in the grenade launcher configuration. This seems like a sniper configuration of sorts, more power, but it loses the semi-automatic fire.
I mean, well, what is the point of these prongs? I'm sorry, why? Why? I hate this, okay? If you cannot find a way to make your weapons look distinct and feel distinct without making them, look like they crawled out of Satan's a-hole, then you just failed. You failed. It's like Borderlands 4, where, you see this thing that looks like clearly a rocket launcher, how massive it is, and turns out it's a shotgun. Huh?
One is a sort of explosive crossbow, but remember, they did say the right tool.
Explosive crossbow, though, is getting extra points because crossbows are cool
for the job. I'm not sure if this assault rifle configuration is the right tool, or these enemies are just tough, but the bullets are very clearly ricocheting off their bodies. What they wanted to get across is that Exodus is an RPG, and that means making meaningful choices. This extends to combat. So yes, you'll be able to making meaningful. What they wanted to get across is that Exodus is an RPG, and that means making meaning.
My first meaningful choice will be finding a way how to dump her very, very fast. But first, we have some fun. Okay, that's gonna be my role-playing choice.
Full choices. This extends to combat. So yes, you'll be able to stealth, but your friend may have gone in guns blazing, and your other friend may say to you, what, I just talked to this other guy and the combat didn't happen. The devs want those water cooler moments. Yes, they support stealth, they have a couple of companions dedicated to stealth, they have a bunch of toys in the player's kit dedicated to stealth, they have a really cool Aegis suit dedicated to
I'm sorry, but what, why? Why? Listen, the flood from Halo is stupid, but I mean, we're going a little bit above and beyond.
Dedicated to stealth, they have a bunch of toys in the player's kit dedicated to stealth, they have a really cool Aegis suit dedicated to stealth.
By the way, conceptually, the flood from Halo is really cool, but in practice, honestly, I think it was executed so poorly. That flood could have been so much more. It could have been completely alien, instead of what the flood actually is. It could have been so much better.
But if you're not into stealth, you don't have to partake in it. It's entirely optional. Now, I know you heard Aegis. This is an acronym for Advanced Extravehicular Ground Incursion Suit. It seems to be your armor in the game, and you can swap in and out different versions that you find. In the tabletop Exodus RPG,
that's cool. I like that.
There are different types. Assault for your combat focus, Chameleon for the aforementioned stealth playstyle. Dynasty seems to be an all-rounder. We have an engineering suit allowing its user to manipulate machinery and electronics. We also have the Gunslinger suit, which seems to be a combat focus with abilities around speed and tracking, though this is all from the tabletop and we're not sure how it translates to a video game, if at all. Moving on, the devs want combat to feel strategic and cinematic. He then references other sci-fi media in which most of the time they're fighting against enormous odds, so you can't just...
Cinematic is not really what I want people to describe combat with. Now, don't get me wrong, this could be actually good, because you want combat to feel special. You want every bullet shot to matter. You want there to be impact, there to be many different things. But cinematic is not what I would choose to describe combat typically.
Engage the enemies head on. The devs reference Star Wars, like how Luke and Han have to infiltrate the Death Star to rescue the princess. They're wading through garbage, they're dressed as stormtroopers, so the devs took that trope and mapped it out. It's observe, plan, execute, and what they jokingly refer to as the oh shit moment. You sort of plan things out, how you're going to go about solving the puzzle, you start to execute it, but say someone spots you, then you have to improvise. That's the model they use for some combats. Not every single one is going to play out like that, but they love the notion of leaning into player choice and some agency in how you do things while still having a big spectacle. Combat is a choice. You'll be thinking about how to solve this problem and that problem. Now, when I heard all this,
saying that is nice, but I do think that that is a tall order of delivery. And I would like to see moments of that, not just words.
I didn't think, okay, we're going to need to stealth past some big groups of enemies. No,
I mean, everything we have seen so far completely does not represent what is being said here. Combat looks very one-dimensional and straightforward.
Thinking the tension is cinematic. Think Grunt's acquisition mission in Mass Effect 2. You're essentially invading a Krogan breeding lab defended by a mercenary army. Now, you aren't being stealthy by any means, but you have infiltrated through the back door, so to speak, while the enemy is distracted. So the way you can approach it is still depending on you and your build, but you know the situation required you not to face the army head on. Maybe Exodus takes that one step further and has you plan how you want to approach and where you want to approach from. Continuing on, the devs talk about how one of the core pillars of the game is pursuing ancient celestial technology. Jun is seeking out these through the game to help them save their homeworld. Jun is your protagonist and can be male or female. The morally questionable part is how they use the technology they find.
More like new male, new female, very androgynous in fact, I would say.
And who they use it with. It's less about the actual technology and more about Jun's choices. The way they want to leverage the tech matters for the outcomes of the game. The devs have tried to make the choices of what you do with the tech really complicated, so when they've talked about weighty choices that have a lot of consequences, these are the biggest deciders for that. You're not just weighing the morality of your choices, you're weighing what your companions want to do and they don't often agree. You're also weighing what the best way to progress humanity is hundreds of years in the future.
I mean, we need to know more about this. You can see this, right? Pre-alpha gameplay. Whenever someone tells me this is pre-alpha gameplay, first of all, I don't believe this. I assume you're lying. There's no punishment for lying about pre-alpha or whatever gameplay. We know that all AAA developers lie about this. But in any case, I hope that this is going to be good, but at the same time, I'm seeing problems. I am not gonna say, I'm not gonna lie, boys. I am seeing a lot of problems here. In any case, Dantex 10 out of 10. Bye!